Hello, we're on the wee hours of the Monday morning, September 20th, 2010. That is just before the beginning of a work week. I don't wish to make anyone angry. I don't wish to be contentious upon the issue, but I'd like to say what I think about this. And this is something that I feel very strongly, that there is not a substantiation for what we do as people, whatever it is we do, other than that we like it. I'm surprised. Well, I'm disturbed that what we do is what we like to do. So, speaking on evolution, the theory of evolution. And once again, this is not an attack. These are my thoughts. And you can keep your snideness, please, to yourself. If you believe this, that's fine. When you talk of evolution, and evolution in schools, to me it's a lot like teaching religion in schools. And I do see them both as being dangerous. When it comes to academics and scholasticism, I prefer homeschooling myself. The parents teaching the kids, if they actually have anything to teach them nowadays. The parents seem, especially now, very ignorant. Not that they couldn't teach them things, but they have no idea how to direct them. I think it's a lot from that pop propaganda box called TV, from which we also get the propaganda evolution. And there's my coffee with cardamom. Not sufficing with that, we also have it in schools. The ridiculousness, going to another thing, of pumping kids full of some establishment religion. I realize, you may do that in good, so-called good faith, in good conscience. The Catholic or Baptist, I don't know if they have any Baptist private schools. I feel it is very dangerous, when you talk about something like Christianity, to go right ahead and teach stuff to kids. A lot of it, you get the basics down, and then it's church doctrine rather than Christianity in the Christian schools. Likewise, and for someone not to be convinced that there's a God, fine. I'm not attacking you. But we'll teach the ways of church. I was in a Church of Christ, which was a denomination I used to go to. I realize people aren't where I am a lot of times. They were teaching how to handle the plates for the bread and the juice, which what we used, or what they used. Nothing to do with Christianity. How to pass the plates. Nothing to do with Christianity, and they were teaching on it. In my youth, I was still a teenager, just barely. We went to a Church of Christ. This one was black, and that's a long story. There was a young black man who was making fun of me about that. Oh, you shouldn't go to that church. Well, I don't. It was a black church, and they were, do this and do that and do the other. And what does this have to do with Christianity? Likewise, with evolution, what does evolution have to do with science? I'm coming at this from a logical perspective. When we look at Richard Dawkins, the man said something wonderful. He said, "That which is presented without evidence, I believe I got the quote right, may also be dismissed without evidence." When I was in school, in high school, we referred to, or they referred to, evolution and said, well, some people believe, and we didn't really talk about creationism or whatever you want to call it. We didn't talk about, here's creationism, quote unquote, and we're going to talk about that. He said, well, some people believe in creationism, that God created it, and that's basically all they said. I don't even know if they said that. Some people believe, it was created. It's basically all they said. And then we went into evolution. Do you realize that someone who might be considered the founder of evolution was about to go into the priesthood or the clergy? His name was Charles Darwin. Do you realize that his second cousin formed the basis or a basis or discussed eugenics, the preferentiation of perhaps blacks over whites, which we got propaganda in this country, in the United States where I'm coming from? We got propaganda saying, oh, the blacks are supposedly inferior based on this kind of ideal, which we completely reject today. So many things that they'll say. This food is good for you, this food is bad for you. But having gone to college, I minored in biology. And it's not really a boast, I didn't major in biology. We had to take a course on evolution. It was pure propaganda. When we talk about the laws of thermodynamics, they are laws, not theories. If someone wants to look at evidence that they believe points to evolution, go right ahead. But once again, that's not what science is. That which is presented without evidence may also be dismissed without evidence. Why do I need to prove to you that this doesn't make sense? I realize that there are circumstances wherein someone may claim, well, see, this may point to evolution. They might even say it does. But if I look at myself or look at a child in school, what substantiation do they have? Therefore, it's not science for the child. It's not science for me, and I minored in biology. I took a course on evolution. And I did well in the course. If you want to submit something to me and you call it science, it's a report. Science is when I do something like, the simple experiment. You take a pile of baking powder or baking soda or baking powder too, pour some vinegar on it, and something happens. That's science. Theoretically, if they're controlled, if you have an environment where they're controlled. It is not that it's not that I'm being hostile. I'm drinking my coffee again. I should not accept rationally that which is not proven to me. And I've never seen evolution proven on the internet, at least on YouTube. On the internet. It is a matter of it being indefensible in my mind, logically, rationally, reasonably, and indefensible in the mind of children, or in the minds of children. If you can convince me, then you can convince me. But if somebody says, well, here's some evidence, Evidence leads to proof. If it doesn't lead to proof to me, it doesn't lead to proof to a child in school, then don't teach it. It's not science. Science is when you go into a lab, you go into a laboratory and do something and notice a reaction. Science is based on experimentation. Science is not based upon a textbook. I am amazed at the lies in the world. And I'm not talking about specifically evolution. Let's get away from that a little bit. I mean, I'm still talking about that, but let's talk about something else. The idea that you won't be told the truth. Will lawyers tell you the truth? Will pastors tell you the truth? You know, I'm not being animistic. You know, my aunt was Catholic. But when you show them, well, this is not, if you use the Bible, this doesn't work out. And it doesn't even faze all these people, these groups of people, priests, bishops, all that stuff in the Catholic Church doesn't even faze them. When you go to my previous denomination and you say this is unbiblical or this doesn't fly. When you go to, I used to be Baptist, when you go to the Baptist and you say, well, what is this altar doing? This is called an altar. Where's your justification for that? They don't have justification. It's not about proof. It's about people's will. When you assert evolution, fine. It's your choice. But when I ask for proof, and I get circumstances, I get tangential things, or suppositions, the logical, rational thing is, if it's not assertable, then don't assert it. If it is not comprehensible to the mind, a certain assertion, it is propaganda. So when I look at science, when I look at scientific claims, one of the things I do is, well, is this reasonable to believe? When you look at Soviet Russia, China, when you look at the United States, you get a lot of propaganda. If you go to Republicans, Democrats, or Whigs and Tories in England, I think, or whatever you got in Canada, you know, each side will accuse the other, oh, that's just propaganda. Sean Hannity is somebody in the United States who's a broadcaster. And people say, you know, when they talk about Fox News, oh, it's lies. Well, yeah, it is lies. We expect, however long something has persisted, such as the Catholic Church, which has persisted for about 1,700 years, or 1,600 years, 1,500 years, I don't know. We ought to look at that and say, I don't care how long it's been there. I don't care how many people adhere to it. I've got to be a free thinker and think for myself. If you can't prove it to me, you know, if you can't convince me, especially if you don't do the evidence and show me the evidence, why should I believe you? It's not something we should be teaching our kids. What should we be teaching our kids is science. It's the same thing with Christianity. If you don't find the evidence for Christianity, why should you believe it? If it's not substantial to you, then it's not substantial to you. Then don't accept it. That's all I'm saying. And it's not just those things. It's not just Christianity or churches or stuff like that that people aren't convinced about. It's anything. We accept so much, and we have to assume certain things. But we are so led around by the nose by religion, by people in lab coats, by all that stuff, by lawyers, by judges, by teachers. So, no hard feelings. Best to you.